Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Tiny Brains podcast. I'm Kevin Joyce, CEO at Tiny Brains, and with me, as always, is Peter Graham, the Brigadier of Brains. So, as we do every week on this podcast, we're going to talk through the biggest stories in XR from the previous week. Now, if you know of any stories or you have some yourself that you'd like to be discussed on this podcast, please do reach out to us and let us know. In the meantime, we're going to dive right in with Nintendo. What? Nintendo. So as you may all know, Nintendo have dabbled with virtual reality. Some say the Virtual Boy isn't a VR headset. Some say it is. We'll leave that for you to decide. But more recently, there was the Nintendo Labo, which was essentially a cardboard device that you made, put your Switch into, and it ran games in VR-ish. Yeah, I quite
Yeah.
liked it. But
Yeah.
uh, but news stories are that there are, well, the new information are circling around is that there are new patents suggesting Nintendo are looking at this again.
There are indeed. One patent surfaced this week, and it revolves around what looks like a possible Switch 2 successor with a VR attachment on it. Now, this isn't cardboard like the Labo was, because the Labo was a very basic VR style headset, which you sort of slotted your Switch into. And then there were lots of other cardboard accessories. This one, look, it's more akin to some of the older VR headsets, like Samsung Gear VR in a way. It looks more robust. It looks like it's made out of plastic from the basic illustrations that were provided on the patents, and then the Switch or Switch 2 clips in to then provide VR support. Once again, though, just like the Labo, this is a case of holding it up and holding it to your face.
Obviously, with the original Switch, the controllers are on either side of the device, and it was controlled while holding it, so it was a bit cumbersome. And we don't know what the Switch 2 slash successor to the Switch is going to look like yet. It is highly likely that it will follow the same formula, controllers attached to the side of the screen, but we don't know. Yeah, it's exciting times for Nintendo fans such as myself and Peter.
Yeah, we've been Nintendo fans for a while, so and hopefully we're going to hear about the Switch 2 soon, aren't we? So
Hopefully, I doubt before Christmas. They're going to want to get one last push out of that original Switch hardware. Um, but anyway, moving on, we have more news about VR companies re-entering the space, or companies in tech re-entering the VR space with an interesting move by Google.
yes, this is like a little tech snippet at the moment because it's not exactly exciting, but it could lead to something exciting in the fact that Android Authority noticed in the code for the next update for the Play Store that there's a listing that says VR XR headset. Now, any long-term VR XR veteran like us will know that Google has played in this space for a long time. You had Google Cardboard, you had Daydream VR, all now defunct. But this new listing is interesting because earlier in the year, Google, Qualcomm, and Samsung announced a collaboration where Samsung's going to release a new headset. Supposedly, it was going to be towards the end of this year. Now, rumors are suggesting it's going to be sometime in early 2025. So, most people are expecting this new listing, this new code, to be, starting laying the bedrock for this new device.
So I myself, I liked the principle of Google Cardboard, but it did muddy the waters a bit, I feel. A lot of people were like, oh, I've tried VR. It's a bit of cardboard. Not great. Google Daydream, on the other hand, I thought was a perfectly capable competitor to Oculus Go. Um, I thought it was superior in many ways, in fact. But Google being Google, if it ain't gaining traction, it's going in the bin. And so it was dead long before its time. Will they have more success this time around? Well, to be frank, their intention this time seems to be softening the risk by partnering with the likes of Lenovo. So maybe this time, Google, maybe.
Well, as long as they don't decide, oh no, we're not, we don't enjoy this after the first 12 months, then yeah, hopefully.
So moving on, apparently it's been a pretty slow week last week for XR news. I would assume because I don't know, Halloween, lots of titles doing new pushes over the
Well, the
Halloween.
big games coming up, aren't there? You know, you got Alien, you got Behemoth coming up for VR
Coming to the
games.
end of the year, not much in the way of hardware news. There's AWE. If any of you were at AWE EU, do let us know what it was like. We didn't attend this year, although both of us have attended in previous years. Let us know what you thought about that. But in the meantime, we're going to get onto the gaming news. So first up, a big drop. That's to me, it's come out of nowhere. Don't know if you'd been hearing around this, Pete, but yeah,
No,
one of the biggest games in VR ever is now coming to PlayStation VR 2.
in actual fact, the reports of Gorilla Tag coming to PSVR 2 haven't come from another Axiom, the developer, at all. There's been no official announcement. This has literally just come from a PlayStation Store listing that shows it's coming out on the 8th of November. So this coming week. And you know, it's a bit of a shock, but I think it's a welcome shock for PSVR 2 owners.
To be frank, they don't need to push this hard, right?
Yeah.
PSVR 2 audience is decidedly limited, and PSVR 2 audiences are decidedly limited in what they can purchase. So I think Gorilla Tag is going to get an easy win there, without necessarily needing to push it very hard.
Yes, it has a huge community and user base, so that's adding the PSVR 2 people onto there as well. You know, yes, it's a long time overdue, I think.
And finally, to wrap it up, we have Fireproof Games are back in action. Now, this is a studio that had been working in VR. I think the first VR title of theirs I tried was on the Gear VR, Omega Agent. That was Fireproof, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm not
Maybe.
gonna. I'm old now, brain's rusty.
But they dabbled a lot in VR during the early days. Gear VR, DK2, CV1. Those are Oculus headsets for those who don't know. And they kind of I feel at least it kind of got a bit quieter from them for a while, but now they're back, and they're back with a game that's launching on or has launched on everything, basically.
Well, it's not launched just yet, Kev. It has been announced. Yes, Ghost Town. So they teased it about a week or so ago on social media, saying, "Oh, something's going to come on Halloween." And these are the guys that they made the Room VR a dark matter about 4 or 5 years ago now, because they've been working on Ghost Town for the last 4 years. So the Room VR, is a great puzzle game in its own right. But things have moved on in VR. So yes, Fireproof Games had initially teased it, and they announced it this last week, and it is coming soon. At the moment, it's due out for Meta Quest, PC VR headsets on Steam. It's going to come to PSVR 2, and again, it's a puzzle solver. It's Fireproof doing what they do best, which is it's set in 1983 London, so yay for all the 80s babies. And yeah, it's going to be set across London and the Scottish Highlands, I think. Some remote Scottish village mystery as well. So it looks quite good.
So this is very definitely a good message to send for all you out there trying to market your titles. I took the Halloween announcement as it's a Halloween launch, and it is available now for everything. Apparently not. Although I did get the messaging on which hardware it was coming to. So basically, be very careful with your marketing messaging. And if you want some help with your marketing messaging, give Tiny Brains a shout. We can iron that out for you, Fireproof. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely.
But that's it. Short week this week. There wasn't much happening. Hope you all enjoyed Halloween and played some spooky VR. And we'll see you again next week. Thank you very much, everybody.